About 4 or 5 years ago, I was working in the home lines department of this Walmart, and I went on my lunch break, and that's when I noticed something strange happening. There were two boys, probably about 12 years old, and I had noticed one of them kind of running around the toy area, but I didn't think twice about it because you see kids running around in Walmart all the time. Now, the one boy would take something like this, let's just use this as an example, and he would leave it here. I'm gonna call the first boy Doug. Now, what happened next may leave you in stitches. It's hard to imagine it now, but this garden area was completely packed with customers and employees. So there were people definitely here. It was middle of the day. They were shopping. It was a really nice summer day outside. And this whole place was so busy. It was absolutely packed. Now, the next time I saw Doug, he was on the other side of that gate, and they didn't have the mesh here at the time. And that's when I noticed his second companion, because Doug had a backpack, and this other kid was going to the areas where Doug had left items and bringing them out here to awaiting Doug, and they were filling up the backpack with him. Now, I didn't notice that part until I had punched out for my lunch break and I came out here to get a little exercise. And as you can see the patio from the outside. And once again, I want to remind you, they didn't have this mesh up here before this incident took place, and I'm fairly certain the incident is why they have it up now. But that's when I noticed the second boy, Doug's companion, running presumably from the lawn and garden entrance all the way out here and meeting his friend who had been standing right there at the time, and they had a backpack full of what looked like DVDs. And I just said, "Hey guys, need any assistance? You guys okay?" You know, wasn't accusing them of anything. I just saw two kids who I thought might need help. I don't know. But they got spooked and they started running back towards this bike path at the end of the parking lot here. And I would also like to point out that there was a customer host stationed at this entrance who was equally oblivious to the actions of the two boys who clearly planned the Museum of Fine Arts heist with as much as they were getting away with. And I could see them making their way towards the bike path with the backpack in tow, and I got a photo of them. It wasn't much, but it was just enough to show my asset protection manager. And at the time, this whole patch here was thick with trees and bushes, and it was a very popular spot for shoplifters to stop, open all their packages, break open the security cases, fill up their backpacks, and be on their merry way. And when the loss protection officer came out here to see if the boys had dropped off any of their catch, he had found quite a few DVDs and games abandoned in this area. And when he recovered the merchandise, I don't know what the exact dollar amount was, but it was a pretty significant chunk of change. I mean, these kids had stolen DVDs, some video games, a few decks of Magic the Gathering cards, and they had been doing this over the course of a few hours. A few days later, the boys were arrested at their school, and I wish I could have been a fly on the wall for that. But I just can't help but thinking, if I hadn't noticed it and I hadn't reported it, Walmart would probably have lost all that merchandise and all that money. And it's amazing to me how one person noticed it, but the 20 people it was happening in front of either didn't notice it or didn't care enough to make a mention of it.